I want to talk to you guys about, setting goals for your life and knowing what you want and actually not allowing anybody or anything to kind of change that and make you feel like you cannot attain it. I feel like if you can dream of it, or if that idea of it was in your head, then chances are you can do it. Sometimes it feels impossible. Sometimes it, like from a distance, it looks ridiculous. But I believe that once you actually decide that this is what you want, I believe you can go for it and it will happen. I believe that I'm a Christian, so I believe that once you set your mind to something and it becomes a goal, or like it becomes something that you aspire to or look forward to, it's like the world or the universe will just fall into place, will make things fall into place to take you to where you want to be. So today it might start off as a dream, and as a dream that's impossible, but God has the ability to connect you to the people that will make that dream come true. It's almost like my journey, I knew I had to be in South Africa at some point in my life to pursue my career here, but I did not know how. At that point where I knew this is what I wanted, there was no set direction that, okay, I'll go stay there and obviously money will come from there. There was nothing, but I had to go with passion, desire, and faith, and that brought provision. So I just want to encourage everyone that if you want something, go for it. Set your goals and make them clear and follow your dreams. One other thing that also helps is, like, I used to write down my dreams and my goals. I still do. I have like a whole lot of diaries that just have things that I want to do and achieve in life, and every time I achieve something, I put a tick next to it. And I've always had this passion that I want to go back to schools where I grew up, less privileged environments, and just inspire young people and tell them, if I could make it this far just through a dream and through having dream and passion and faith that I can get that far, you can also do it too. And funny enough, this year I got connected to my home cell leader, Ulondi. It was a divine connection. I didn't even know she had some sort of passion as well for reaching out to young people and encouraging them to pursue their dreams. But next thing you know, through Ikusaselihle, I had a platform where I could actually pursue that passion, where I could reach out to young people, encourage them, tell them my story, because I believe that the story that I have is worth telling, because it's a testimony and it shows the power of God and the power of pursuing and having faith in your dreams and your goals. So I just want to encourage everybody that, if there's something in your heart, in your mind, or wherever, don't let anybody, and there will be some negativity every now and then. Some people will tell you that I'm faithful, like what you're thinking of is just out of the question, or that will probably, you're quite a dreamer. Like I remember, like, even growing up, they used to call me an extremist because my dreams were extreme. When I do something, I was extreme in everything. I just used to be extra, and for some people that seemed like she's just extra. But for me, my extraness took me to an extra mile, took me to a place where I feel like I'm still on my way to much greater things. Sometimes when I think of the things that I feel like I'm meant to do in life and the impact I'm meant to have, it scares the hell out of me, or the life out of me. But I'm going to continue to pursue it, because I believe that if I thought of it, then it means there will be provision for it. So whatever you're thinking of, whatever you're dreaming of, chances are there is provision. Chances are you will be able to make it happen, and it can be made happen only by you. So occupy that space and go for those dreams. Yeah. My name is Wabo Dhlamini. I do not have a nickname. I've never really had a nickname. I'm from Swaziland, born and raised in Swaziland. Grew up there, yeah. As Wabo Dhlamini, I find that I am a worshiper. So you can call me a spiritual person, but I love God and I find a lot of delight in serving God. So I'm in the worship team ministry in church. I am a sister. I also believe in like unity and praying for sisters and stuff like that, which is like something else that has been like currently established, a prayer group for young women, so that we can share stuff and pray about stuff. I am also very passionate about people's health, not only the healing part but also the preventative part. So I'm a chiropractor, not a very big believer in drugs, a big believer in prevention and managing stuff before it gets to the horrific stuff. So basically I will advise you on diets, I will tell you to take care of yourself and eat healthy and whatnot, and then like I believe like for what we can do to help people before things get out of hand, like as a chiropractor, we should be the first line of treatment. First try chirophysio before you go surgical and just get dramatic with things. So I guess I'm more passionate about health, healing. I'm also very passionate about reaching out to young people. I have like a heart for giving back to the community, since I made it out of like a place where many people don't really see themselves beyond what their immediate surroundings are. So I have this also passion to kind of like get back there and give back to the community. So I guess you can say I am, in that sense, I'd say I identify myself as maybe a motivator, a public speaker, maybe a mentor. Yeah. Since I was raised in Swaziland and I grew up there, so my mom stays in Swaziland, but my dad is South African. Don't ask how they met and what happened. But so like growing up, I was in Swaziland, and when I finished my high school in Swaziland, during the year, when you were supposed to apply to varsity and stuff like that, all people were applying and whatnot, and my teachers were like urging me to apply because I was the head girl at school. I was very responsible. I was a good girl basically. So they were all just rooting for me and like saying I should apply, but I didn't apply simply because I just didn't see myself studying anyway in Swaziland. And most of all, I just didn't see my future just ending and starting there. I felt like there was more that life had to offer, and there was more to life than what was in my immediate surroundings. So I didn't apply, and my mom saw the seriousness of it when I applied, and then it was the following year, beginning of year, and it was time to wait for results and then see whatever we can do from there. So she came to me and she asked me, okay, so what are we doing now? And I told her that I want to go study in South Africa. And she was like, okay. I was like, yeah, I want to become a doctor and I'm going to go study in South Africa. So she was like, okay. So she had a friend of hers that had 2 daughters that were living in South Africa. So they decided, okay, let's go and see what we can do, because it's already last minute, like schools were already open this side and whatnot. So I went with my mom, and then we started looking for schools, but most schools were already full because schools had already started and whatnot. And then we found this one particular school. They were like, look, our grade 12 is already packed and we cannot take you at grade 12. What we can do for you though is take you in at grade 11, and then you can work from grade 11 to grade 12. And I figured, well, I'm not really looking for a gap year, and if I stay in the house and just do nothing the whole year, it's just not who I am. So I decided, look, I'm taking the offer. So I took the offer, but the funny thing is the offer was not in the location we hoped that it would be, where I'd be able to stay with the other girls that were currently staying there at my mom's friend's place. So the challenge then was accommodation. And funny thing is, we spoke about it right there at the same time, same place, and my mom was asking the principal, after having accepted me, that is there a chance that I can get like a place to stay? Are there places where students normally stay who are traveling from far? And the man was like, no, you do not need a place to stay. I am staying currently with 2 of my siblings and my wife, and we have enough room for 1 more person. And literally right there and then, by a stranger, I was taken into their home. And then my mom had to go get the rest of my stuff, and by the next morning I started school. And after that, my mom, through communication and talking to many people, found out that since my dad was absent during my upbringing, he was also not there when I was born. So the section that required my father's documents in my birth certificate was empty, it was blank. So then my sister started talking to my dad about it, and they found out that if my dad's details are also there, then it also legally makes me a South African. So then we got my father and my mother, who were not talking for years, to actually sit down and come up with a solution. So my dad decided to send forth his documents, and we put it together at Home Affairs, took it to Home Affairs in Swaziland, and then there it was processed and then taken to Home Affairs in South Africa for processing, so I can get like a South African birth certificate. And then that journey, you know how Home Affairs and everything can take time. Funny enough, when I was doing grade 12, by the time that I had to apply for medicine, during that time my ID had not returned, so I could not apply with the Swazi identity because my aim was to study this side, and I felt like it would be a great advantage for everything to actually display the true identity, which needed an ID number, so I wouldn't use the same ID number because they're different. So I couldn't apply for medicine, and I felt like, oh, what a train smash. And then I was looking at the brochure and I found something called chiropractic. I had no idea what it was, but all I saw was the fact that you study for 6 years and you become a doctor. So I googled it. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I read up about it. Oh, you don't use medicine, that's nice. I mean, drugs you don't prescribe, that's nice. So no injections, no prescribing, but you can still help people. So it took it captured my eye, and I applied for several other things that never really captivated me. But you know, when you have to, there's like 6 options there, so you have to put in a whole lot of stuff. So I put in a whole lot of stuff, and then I sent my CEO form, and there you go, applied for chiropractic. And then I had to come for my chiropractic interview, and I had to write an assignment, wrote my assignment. And then the first time my mom came to Durban was the first time I came to Durban for my interview. It was just the 2 of us. We had no idea how Durban looks. And funny enough, the Lord was with us. I remember very well, my mom prayed from Swaziland until we got here to Durban. Like, we would talk in between, but she was praying the whole time. And a miracle definitely happened. We were sitting in front, me and my mom, and then, close to the taxi driver, and then everyone else at the back. And when we literally dropped off at Durban station, a girl was sitting at the back, came to us and greeted us and asked us where we were going. Now that for me is God's work, because we had not been interacting much with the people at the back. And then my mom started explaining where we were going and what was happening, and also told the lady that we were not really sure where to go from here. So the lady offered to help us find like a nearest motel or something. And then my mom was like, oh, she's so grateful. We might as well as like go and grab some lunch or something with her. And then after the lunch, the lady was like, we have so much room at home, you can actually come and sleep over at my home. You don't have to like go and get a hotel, and I can take your daughter to DUT in the morning. And so I went there. I had my interview in the morning after having stayed with a stranger, and I saw the work of the Lord and the Lord's hand over my life. And I think I also realized a couple of years later, when I was already a registered student at the Durban University of Technology, that sometimes things happen and it looks like it's a setback, but it's actually falling into place. Because when I see it now, if I had gotten a placing in grade 12, then it means I would have finished grade 12 with the Swazi identity. Then I would have had to go through the drama of bringing forth my new identification and having my results, have the new ID and everything. So that was quite interesting. So that's how I became a chiropractor. And in the first year of Cairo, I made it clear that I had an idea what it was, but I had never seen a chiropractor. I did not really know what I had gotten myself into, so I took it upon myself to go into our clinic. There's a clinic that we have where the 5th and 6th years practice. So I took it upon myself. I went there, observed, I saw what was happening. I became a patient, and I felt, oh, so this is what I'm going to be doing, and this is what's going to be happening to me. So basically, that's how I got to chiropractic. So entry requirements, you need your maths, your physics, your chemistry, your life science. I think it's still called life science. And then, but like if you don't have maths, I think they're able to take you in, but you get taken on the extended program. So there's a mainstream program and an extended program. So if you feel like you didn't do the exact subjects that are required, like your sciences and stuff, like your science and maths, but you're still interested in doing chiropractic, you can still apply, and there's an extended program where they'll give you more details on what you kind of have the first few modules with you will be a bit different and whatnot, kind of introduction to some of the things you didn't go through at school, so that you're able to go through it, the course, because in first and second year I believe we had a bit of chemistry and physics as well that we did at varsity as part of our modules. So basically the first 2 years you're basically learning about the human body, so the anatomy, and you're also learning just the basics of physics and chemistry, because we also learn about drugs in second year, but not the drugs that you like, pharmaceutical drugs, so chemistry, so that we're able to know how pharmaceutical drugs interact with the human body, because we'll be dealing with people, so we need to be able to identify when there are some actual chemical reactions that are causing people to actually have certain signs and symptoms. Okay, and then during the third year of study, you're mostly learning about different diseases and how they present, so you learn how to make your diagnosis and stuff like that. That's where also your chemistry will come into place, because you will know how different drugs interact, and if someone is taking drugs for diabetes and also taking drugs for heart disease, take for instance, for an example, then you will know the interaction between those drugs, and so you will know how the person might present in terms of signs and symptoms that are not necessarily detrimental to the person's health, but are mostly a manifestation of the drugs that the person is taking. Okay, so we learn about that, and then in fourth and fifth year we learn mostly chiro related stuff. So we're learning how to treat chiropractic related things. We mostly specialize in the spinal cord, so we mostly treat lower back pain, neck pain and stuff like that, but we also treat other joints, but we're mostly spinal specialists because we really deal with those, learn about all the different conditions that a person can have that are spinal related, learn what we can treat and what we cannot treat, learn we look at how to read x-rays, how to read MRI scans, so that we're able to properly evaluate and treat our patients when we're in practice. So in the fifth year of study you start also practicing, so then you also like go and start practicing, because we also learn practicals, how to treat as a chiropractor, that we start learning in third year. So first year, second year, while you're learning anatomy, you're also learning what we call like anatomy over surface anatomy. Sorry, I'm like trying to come up with that name, where surface anatomy, so that you can be able to identify something, a bone, while it's still inside but covered with skin and stuff like that. So you're able to identify which bone is this and whatnot, and we draw them and stuff like that. That's in first and second year. Then in third year we start learning how to position our patients for adjustments. So because mostly chiropractors will manipulate or adjust joints back into place. So we believe that a misalignment is the one that's going to cause a disease. So whatever pain you're having somewhere in your joint or whatever, it is probably because your joints are misaligned, or there's also some soft tissue involvement where your muscles can also be injured and stuff like that. So yeah, basically that's the first 5 years of study. And then in your fifth and sixth year, that's when you also start to do your research. So we are required to do a thesis before we complete our studies. So then you do everything from writing out pure concept paper to collecting data, analyzing your results and everything like that, so that you complete your thesis. And then once you complete your thesis, only then can you graduate. But we're also required to see a particular number of patients for practice purposes, so that before duty releases us, they know that we have enough experience. We also do some community service. We also do certain number of hours of just observing other practitioners, not only chiropractors but other practitioners, other professions. We go observe general practitioners and see how they work. We go observe radiographers and see how they are taking x-rays compared to what we have learned. They obviously will have more intel on taking x-rays than we do, but we actually we go in more or less the same depth when it comes to radiography, but obviously a radiographer has specialized in that. So yeah, we just observe different professions, and then so before you graduate, you'll have to have your hand in your hours of how many different practitioners you've observed and chiropractors you've observed in practice, patient numbers that you have done in clinic and outside clinic, which is community service. Yeah, and then after that, once your thesis is done and all your patient numbers and everything like that is done, you can be done. So challenges that I had when I was studying chiropractic were quite a lot. I have had a whole lot of challenges. At first, in the beginning of the year, of my first year, it was mostly relating to South Africans, different environments. I'm from Swaziland. It turns out Zulus and Swazis are not that similar. Language is almost similar, but we carry ourselves and express ourselves in different ways. So it was not easy for me to identify with different people. And the course I'm doing is mostly white dominated. So there was a lot of feeling of also intimidation, feeling intimidated by all the other races that seemed like they had everything together, and I was just a girl from Swaziland. So that like impacted a lot on my emotions and stuff. I was a whole lot like emotional and a bit unstable in my first year of study. So my grades were also took a turn at some point, and they were not reflecting the effort that I put in, because I didn't go out. I was never the party type, never the to have too many friends than I can count type. So most of the time was just me and my books. And I think the one thing that helped me overcome every challenge was having a family in church. I go to CFCI, and I found the church in my first year in a time where I needed it the most. And I've had people who have related to me as if they were my own parents, sisters, and whatnot. So that really helped. The community that was there for me was mostly the church. Because there were also times where, especially in my first year and second year, there were also times where I'd have financial challenges, and it would be scary for me to keep asking at home for money when they just gave me money. But even what they just gave me was never really enough, because my mom was mostly supporting me, and she did not necessarily have a steady income. So you'd find that like she gives me 200 rand and asks me to just buy one or two things and whatever, and then obviously that will run out too quick, and then after that it's also scary to be like, now that's up, because you know that she also doesn't really, if she had, she'd give you, kind of thing. And I think the church played a very vital role in that, because in church there were people that would just randomly come to me and greet me, ask me how I'm doing, and I wouldn't even say that I have problems, and they'd just give me money or give me a ride home. You find that I literally had 5 rand for going to church. That was the time when taxi was 5 rand. Like I only had 5 rand for going to church. I'd just be like, okay, I'm going to church, and then when I get there, I'm not even sure how I'm coming back. You find that someone will just come talk to me, and then they'll give me a ride back home, or come talk to me and give me money for buying proper groceries. So I feel like that was one thing that really helped me, for me, serving in church and being found in church during my year of study. Yeah. So since I'm finishing off my chiropractic profession, graduating next year, where I see myself in 5 years is quite interesting. Personally, I want to see the world. I want to travel, and funny enough, after chiropractic, I still don't really see a lot here in South Africa. Not that I want to leave and not come back. I want to leave and just travel for work, and also just to see the world and also to impact. So my actual dream and goal is, of course, to also do music eventually. I write songs, and I've always felt like a deep passion for music. I just didn't want to focus on music, per se, like as a career. I wanted to have a stable career and then music. So basically, in 5 years, I think at some point during my journey after school, I will try to get a recording and after that pursue music, but not full time. And then if an opportunity avails itself for me to actually practice with someone else, preferably abroad, to go and partner with someone in their practice, in their chiropractic practice, and just practice there, I'll do that. But even if like a lecturing opportunity opens itself, I can also go and lecture, because I do love impacting and transferring like my knowledge to younger people. So I think I'm very open to lecturing, I'm very open to co-working with someone in their practice, and I'm very much open to pursuing a music career. And yeah, so yeah.